and Warren family. My husband and wife. Right, we've got about a minute or so, and I'll get started. All right, that's the end of that. So, what do you all have planned for this Saturday? I have a couple of things to do, at least two. I have a sorority meeting, and then I have a game to attend. So, we're not going to be on here long. But I'm so happy to see all of you here. That is like amazing. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. All right, on last Saturday, I talked about who I am. And the title of this mini documentary that I'm creating is called Getting Out of My Own Way so that I can fulfill my God-given purpose. And today, the mini series is titled Where I'm From. I know when you hear where I'm from, you're probably going to think that I'm talking about a geographical location, but I'm not. I'm actually going to talk about some things that resonated with me in my childhood that I carried over with me into my adulthood. So Steve Jobs once said, "You can never connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backward." And when he said that, I knew what he meant literally, but I had not had the opportunity to apply it to my life. So as I've been reflecting on some things, I see exactly what he's talking about. Now, growing up as a child, there were some things that I loved doing. And if I didn't do those things when I was a child, then I kind of felt out of sorts. One of the things that I loved doing as a child was reading. Going to the library with my siblings and my cousins. We would go check the books out, come back home, and we would read them. And that was like one of the best part of my childhood experiences. And I've learned as an adult, I've carried that experience with me. I still have a love for reading. But most importantly, I've learned that God speaks to me through the written word. And oftentimes I'm not certain why I choose certain books, but He is. And when I read those books and get what it is that He wants me to have, then it all makes sense. So the first thing that I'm from is books, reading. The second one is music. Growing up as a child, my sister, older sister, Shadana, she was very popular. She hung out with all of the popular people, football players, the cheerleaders. And when mom, cover your ears, but I think you already know. But when mom would leave the house on the weekends, we would throw house parties and we would invite everybody over. I would be the DJ because I loved music. Music spoke to me in a way that nothing else spoke to me. So I was able to record on cassette tapes back then, all of the latest songs. And when we had our house parties, I would play them and they had a blast. So music is something that I still listen to as an adult. I do listen to a little rap every now and again, old school rap that is. but my main genre is gospel, and I love it because, again, that's another mood where God uses to communicate what it is that He wants me to know at that particular time. So I use music to get up in the morning. I use it to kind of find answers to things that I'm not certain of why it's happening. And I also listen to music just to keep myself calm and peaceful. The third thing that I'm from is nature. Growing up as a little girl, I remember going outside, loving to be outside, playing in the grass, making mud pies, eating mud pies, eating something we call rabbit grass, and it was so good. And oftentimes I found myself as a little girl staring up at the trees. I used to love looking at trees. And that's something that I've grown back to loving as an adult, being outside in nature. When weather, and if it permits, not today, but one day I need to show you something that's very special to me outside, but we'll do that on another day. But God also uses nature to speak to me. And I love how beautiful, how quiet, how calm, how experienced nature is. And when I'm quiet and open to receiving what it is God has for me that day, nature reveals it. So just to recap where I'm from, the three things that I have carried from my childhood into my adulthood that has allowed me to return home to my natural state, being one with God, are books, music, and nature. And a lot of times when I sit and I reflect on life, there are always breadcrumbs, always breadcrumbs. And as an adult, you know, we tend to kind of get away from that connection, that true connection with God, because of all of the distractions that we have and because of all of the roles that we play and just the busyness of life. But if we sit and pay attention to the things that we used to do as children, we can easily find our way back. Okay, so now I'm going to stop and pause for a moment to see if we have. Hi, Tiffany. How are you? I'm so happy you joined. Celebrating my B-Day and my son's B-Day. Oh, LaDonna, happy birthday, dear. And tell your son happy birthday. What are you doing today for your birthday? That is fun. And if you don't mind, how young are you? How young are you? Okay. Sean, you said you're going to a luncheon to bless a women's shelter this morning. That's phenomenal. I love that you give back. It's so important for us to, regardless of how busy we are, to always give back. And now that we're in the season of giving, it's just so relevant to do that. But that's amazing. I like that you are sowing seeds into other females, because we so need that, especially from each other. So thank you, sister, for doing that. Hi, Roderick. How are you? Hadn't seen you or heard from you in a while. I pray all is well with you. What have you been up to? Hello, Angela. How are you? I saw you, Rihanna. How are you, beautiful? Me too. Sean said she loves listening to gospel music as well. I listen every day, and it does. It ministers to your soul. Hi, how are you? It's so amazing to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Tamara, how are you? And congratulations on your house. That is like a wonderful thing. I'm so happy you're getting the blessings that you deserve. Awesome. You're going to have a housewarming party. Hi, Tia. How are you? I know your morning is jam-packed. Tia Mears is one busy, productive lady. She's amazing. But go ahead, Tia. I want to hear what you have planned to do. Okay, we've been on for about 13 minutes, and I'm just gonna kind of tell you some things about what I'm doing. My prayer for 2018 has been for me to hear God's voice crystal clearly, and for me to immediately obey what it is that He has for me or wants me to do in that moment. And because the times have changed, our attention is not so focused on one thing. And oftentimes I find myself having to myself and kind of pull away from the world to a degree so that I can get quiet and hear His voice. And what I'm learning is whenever I'm quiet, He speaks all the time, and it's constant. And I could simply just ask a question in my head, and within that next minute, He's answering it through some form. Like I said earlier, oftentimes it's through the written word, and that's why I have this love or gravitation towards books, because I know that is how God communicates to me, and especially through His written word, but also other written words as well. Another one is music. Man, music, I can't explain music. I don't have the language to explain it in a manner in which you can truly get it. But I am going to make an attempt. Okay, for me, music is like it's like breathing. It's something that you need in order to keep going. You can't keep living without breath, without air floating in and floating out. And when I hear music, now particularly gospel music, that's the way I feel. It's like a refueling of something within me that kind of gets me going. It keeps me going, and it's there anytime I need it, regardless of the emotion that I'm going through. And it's harmonious. But it's one of the three ways that God speaks to me through music. And I didn't know then, but I know now why I had that love for music, and I continue to have that love for music. And the third one is nature. Man, nature is one of our best teachers. We need to spend more time in nature. And I do. And it's hard now since it's kind of cold sometimes. But I know if I really need to go out there, I'm going out there in the cold, and I'm just going to freeze for however long until I get that vibe that I so desire to have. Okay, we're at 17 minutes, and I'm checking my time. It's almost 8:55, and I do have to get dressed. No, I'm not dressed. I have this little lounger on, but I do have to get dressed for my meeting. I'm gonna check the thread. Ah, Dr. Ray, how are you? Love you. I'm so happy to see you. Y'all, I am one of the most blessed individuals in this world. And it's not because of any material possession that I own. It's because of the people that God has purposely planted in my life. And one of those individuals is Dr. Ray. Y'all, she is phenomenal. And I don't know if I told her this or not, but she has always been a role model for me. She was one of my professors when I was getting my master's degree for education leadership. And she was the department chair. She was Black. I was Black. She was female. I was female. She was so very smart. And she took no stuff of nobody. And when it was time for her to make her next move, she did so, and she didn't apologize. And man, I love that about her. I really do. But thank you so much, Dr. Reed, for joining. Miss Carol, how are you? Wow, I'm looking at all of these names, and I see all these wonderful people, and I'm thinking, why are you on? But thank you, Miss Carol. How are you? I hope you're enjoying retirement. Awesome, awesome, awesome. What are you planning for today? Hello, Broussard. How are you? Good to see you. Oh, Dr. Reed, thank you. Now, you're not going to have me crying on Facebook Live, okay? And I'm not. I won't. Okay, I got to tell you a quick story. When we were there were 10 of us from our area to go receive this fellowship that was sponsored by the Louisiana Department of Education and the Wallace D. Foundation. And Dr. Ray had written the grant for it, and we were the recipients. And I remember one time we were going through one of the hurricanes, and y'all, the hurricane had nearly destroyed the house. My daughter was here, and my husband was working because he called out to help the others. And the wind blew the doors open, and the water came in my daughter's room. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. And during that time, I was very emotional. When we had class the following week, there were some of the individuals who had more damage to their housing than I did, and among other things. And when they were telling the story, they got emotional. So instead of finishing the story, one of the individuals left the room. And I remember Dr. Ray said, "Okay, Jane, what about you?" And before I started speaking, she went to the door and she blocked the door. She was not going to let me get emotional. She was going to force me to tell my story without being emotional. And I said, well, she blocked the door, so I can't run. So I did. I told the story, and I did not get emotional. So that was one of the many lessons that I've learned from her, was to be able to go through that emotion, make sure your story is told, and do it in a manner where others understand without breaking down. So that was phenomenal. And I didn't know I had what it took to get it done, but I did. So thank you, Dr. Ray. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, guys, we are at 22 minutes. I don't like to have long Facebook Lives, and I also need to get dressed for my meeting. So I'm so humbly appreciative for each of you for logging on. But before I go, remember to stay safe. Remember to love the person in front of you. Remember to love the person behind you. Remember to love the person to the left of you. Remember to love the person to the right of you. And remember and I love each and every one of you. Until next time, enjoy your weekend.